Hey, good morning. Yes, it is. It is Sunday, February 3rd. And what are we going to be talking about today? Well, I think we need to push it a little bit farther on the idea that you make money when you buy and not when you sell. Because a lot of people are getting a misconception of what that idea actually is. So stay tuned. Alrighty, welcome back. My name is Eric, and yes, this is the weekend. This is Sunday, February 3rd, 2025. So, what are we talking about today? We're talking about the concept that you make your money when you buy, not when you sell. And how does that actually work if you were to break it down? Because a lot of people just couldn't get past that idea, I guess. Let's break down a buyer and a seller, okay? As most sellers have bought it brand new or secondhand, been passed down through the family, who knows, right? And they decide for whatever reason they're going to put it up for sale. Does that sound clear enough so far? Now I come along as a buyer, and they've got Grandpa's old snowblower and his riding lawnmower for sale. So I asked them, what did you want for Grandpa's snowblower and lawnmower? Now, I'm already running it through my brain, what will that snowblower bring on a good day? And what will that riding lawnmower bring on a good day? And I can tell you, not much. Not much. So if they come out with a high number, then I'm saying no. Because if I say yes, I'm going to go backwards, right? And you also have to look at when I'm buying from an individual, I'm not buying it to use, I'm buying it to resell. So there has to be some meat left on the bone for me to sell. That's where I make my money, right? And you're going to say, well, you're making your money then when you sell. No, I'm making my money when I buy, so I know what it's worth, and then I can bring the money in on the back end. And it may take a year or two of sitting on it to realize it. Amos said it best. If you were doing a number of units and you took the average, if you're still making money, you're still making money. Take the $200-300 instead of the $500 you wanted, and move on to the next project. But let's kind of tear apart me, the buyer. Okay? What is my makeup? Well, my makeup is hours and hours of talking with other people, knowing what their needs are, and having them tell me, if you come across this or this or this, I would be very interested in it. And it's years of experience of learning what people are willing to pay you once you buy it. See, now that tractor riding lawnmower that's sitting in Grandpa's garage could be a wheel horse that has the plow, the belly mower, the snow blower, 2-stage. And you may know just the collector that wants that, or the old timer that wants exactly that if it's working, to bring him back to the good old days. And they're willing to pay a premium to get it. That's hard work on my part of locating those people. When I'm looking, the more I'm out there, the more people I come in contact with, the more I know what somebody on the back end is willing to pay. So I'm trying to make my money when I'm talking with the physical owner of said machine goods, what have you. You know, it's like American Pickers. I know it's a TV show, and half of it isn't even factual, but it illustrates what I'm trying to get across. You have two guys out there picking, right? And they're not picking for themselves. They are for like the Harley 1940 or 1950, but they're buying to put into a store to resell, or they're buying because they have somebody already lined up in the wings that has told them they're looking for this. And getting on the phone and saying, did you ever find that X, Y, or Z that you were looking for? Because I'm looking at one right now. Where did you want to be on it? And then you want to be a middle number between what they're willing to pay you and what it costs to buy it, right? But American Pickers, they go in and they try to find stuff, and then they buy it off from sellers and do just that. And their wisdom and time knowing these outlets is a big investment. It takes a lot of time to build these relationships on the back end, right? And then when you're talking to the seller on the front end, you may find in turn that that person is looking for something that you might have or come across or know where one is. You see what I'm saying? The more knowledge and the more you do this, the more money you're going to make. There's guys that'll go out and buy and sit on stuff. I mean, I just did on a snowblower. I sat on it for the third year. But when I buy, the tendency I do, unless I have an outlet, if somebody I know wants to buy one, is I buy it with, can I get use out of it? Is something, if it doesn't sell, is it going to hurt me? And in the case of the snowblower, it didn't. It took up a little garage space, but no big deal there. And I cleaned out around the garage and the steps with it. But I wasn't going to give it away. And, you know, could I have gotten half of what I was asking for? Yeah, many times over. But I had a fair price on it, and I even had meat left on the bone. And the right guy come along that wanted it, and there was no questions asked, paid full asking. So when I'm talking about the concept that you're making your money on the front end, that's what I mean, is you have this wealth of knowledge, and that knowledge has value. You know, you've been out there beating the brush. You know, it's kind of like an old cattle dealer told me years ago when I first started buying and selling cows. He said, you look at it like a college education, son. That you're going to win some, you're going to lose some. And the ones you lose, you better learn something from so you don't lose any more on it. And that's so true when it comes to buying and selling, is you have to know up front when you're buying that you have a place for it to go and you're going to make money on it. You're going to bring it back to your shop or your home life and you can get use out of it for a year or two while you're waiting to sell it. But you're not going to continually go out there and pay more than what fair market value is on stuff and then think you're going to come out ahead, right? You know, it goes back to that concept of hitting your head on the wall and then expecting different results. You know, that's asinine. Buying and selling is the same way. The more you do it, the more clients you build, the more money you can make. And I don't care if it's stocks and bonds, it's your bag. When you're buying and selling stocks and bonds, you've done some history on it. You've done some research, you've done some reading on certain things, but you come into it hopefully with experience of saying, okay, I know that that stock is valued below value, and if I buy 1,000 shares of that, good chances are that stock is going to come back up $15 more in the next 6 months. So if you bought 1,000 shares times 15, there's $15,000 that you made. Or you could hold on to it and let it sit longer. But you made your money on the front end when you were buying it. You did the research. You may have known someone that was looking for X number of stock. But these big day traders, they trade all the time. They move stuff around. And the key to the stock market is you buy low and you sell high. That's the key. And for the average person that has a 401k, my best advice to you is leave it to hell alone and let it ride. But if you're buying individual stock, let's say you're buying IBM stock. You know, when we had that a few years back where all the stock, even Microsoft, tanked, that would have been the time to buy. And they even shut the stock market down of trading because it was going to crash. But if you were able to buy a lot of IBM or Microsoft stock when it tanked, you would be independently wealthy now if you had held on to it until now, right? But that's knowing and understanding that, and that's something I wouldn't do without a lot of research, of buying and selling. But if that's your bag, you understand, or I hope you understand, that you're making your money on the front end of buying that stock and knowing where you're going to realize it on the back end. Is it always a sure thing? No. Everything that you're buying is a risk. There's always a risk. And sometimes the higher the risk, the better the payoff. But also, the higher the risk, the more you can lose. But if you come at it like it's an education, because what is it? Most educations now, for a 2-year degree is like 25 grand, and for a 4-year degree, it's 50 and up. Understand that concept. If you could understand that, you're halfway there. So when I say, you're making your money when you buy, you have to have a makeup of who the buyer is. And the buyer, the more contacts you have, the more outlets you have, the more time you have doing it, the more money you're going to make at it. Or hopefully, the more money you're going to make out of it. Because you've got time, you've got repertoire of clients that you have that have expressed to you that they're looking for X, Y, and Z. So you put that in your little black book of things to look for when you're out there. You're calling that person before you make the deal, because that person may have already found that wheel horse lawnmower that Grandpa is trying to sell. So he doesn't have a need for it anymore, and neither do you, because they're hard things to sell unless you find the right person. You make your money when you buy. The ones that'll turn out best are the ones that keep honing their skill. The ones that keep building relationships with the people they come in contact with. And that seller that you're talking to, maybe the kids or the grandkids of Grandpa's stuff, they may become part of your repertoire of relationships that they may be looking for something in particular. And you may be sitting on it right then and there and can make a deal with them. You never know where that next deal's coming from, and you never know where that next sale will be. That's the fun. That's the excitement. So if you follow a few golden rules, and that is, 1, you have to know what fair market value is. 2, you have to have an outlet for it. And if you don't have an outlet right off for it, is it something that you can use to still get value out of it. 3, building relationships with every person you come in contact. Every person can be that buyer that you're looking to sell to. Let them know you're out and about. Build that relationship so that if they're looking for something in particular, it could be glassware, and you're there looking at Grandpa's snowblower, but you notice that there's a bunch of glassware on the table and behind it that they're looking to get rid of too. See, you never know where the next deal is going to be. But you have to know a little bit about it. And like the American Pickers, taking a picture of the glassware and sending it to a person that had said, if you come across, I would be interested in it. And then for them to shoot a number back that they're willing to give, and it's half of what they're asking for, you're buying, right? And you may leave the snowblower and the lawn tractor there and just walk away with the glassware. So I'm going to start wrapping this up, but I hope you get the concept. You know, a lot of guys and gals that are out there buying, they're not looking at what they can make on the back end. They're looking at that minute, can they flip it and make $1? And you can if you have the right relationships that you've built over time, right? Or if you buy it cheap enough, you know that you bought it for half of what fair market value is, and there's got to be an outlet somewhere, right? But while we're on that subject, you know, it's I know about glassware, I know about pottery, I know about postcard collections, I know stamps, because we've done this, my wife and I, over the years. We have a lot of glassware, carnivalware, you know, that we had bought over the years at auctions, and bought, you know, postcards back in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. They aren't worth what they used to be, but they still have value, right? And I have a box that is right full of cubic magnetite out of Belmont. It's rare cubic crystals and stuff that I hand picked that I have left. It's a huge box, and it's probably worth around 15 grand. Let's not even talk about the baseball, football, and hockey cards of, you know, rookie cards, the special cards that were halogen that are in sleeves, and I've got it all. Because once you're a collector, you collect everything, right? So on that note, you guys have a great Sunday. Put in the comments what your thoughts are. I know that the one that I did the other day, people just didn't understand the concept, or they were just pissy because I'm not showing you something that's going to be easy peasy and you're going to make tons of boatloads of money. I'm giving you as much information as I can to show you how you can become a seasoned buyer and seller. It's all about relationships. It's all about buying and making your money when you buy, and knowing that you have an outlet, or at least you have a use out of it. You guys enjoy your Sunday.